Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. I'm Dave Bennet, one of the many volunteers here at the TV station that helps create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or of course online 24 hours a day at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteer staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you enjoy watching NACTV, would you please consider supporting us with donation or by volunteering? You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or email at nactv@wcgwave.ca. Today's paper, the Neepawa Banner and Press, is dated Friday, April the 1st, 2022. Note the date, April 1st, because the big headline on the front of the Banner and Press right now is Ken Waddell retiring. Picture of Ken out in front of his offices here with his box of goodies, taken home, I guess. And a little quote in the bottom here, a little note, Neepawa Banner and Press publisher Ken Waddell is hanging up his hat. See page 2 for more details. Well, we'll get there soon. Might just mention on the front page at the bottom here, though, is the annual general meeting of the members of the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op. Wednesday, April 13th at 7 p.m. It's virtual, and you can register by calling the admin office. So, well, what's Ken up to this week? April Fools. Oh, yes. April the 1st, 2022 is the date of this paper. He's at his desk with his hat on. After more than 32 years publishing the local paper, Ken Waddell is still at his desk, hard at work. He plans to continue to be there for as long as he is able. Happy April Fool's Day. Well, he may need to get a new hat at some point. Anyway, what's in the paper? Manitoba to present the budget, April the 12th. Well, that's good news. Hear what's happening. This is submitted by the Manitoba government. And it says, Provincial Finance Minister Cameron Friesen has announced that the 2022 provincial budget will be delivered on Tuesday, April 12. Budget 2022 is about strengthening our healthcare system, focusing on affordability, finding ways to invest in our communities, and protecting Manitoba's environment, said Friesen. Goes on to say, we must continue to rebuild our economy and work toward resolving something that everyone is concerned about, making life more affordable. The article continues, over the past few months, more than 51,000 Manitobans have participated in the province's budget consultation process, an increase from the previous year. That's good to know. Engagement included telephone town halls, virtual meetings for stakeholders and the public, an online survey, and an invitation for email and written submissions. Among those who answered the online survey, the number one priority for the upcoming budget was healthcare. Well, I think we all could have guessed that. Nearly one half of those who completed the survey indicated that improving education and increasing support related to mental health and addictions is a high priority. About 1/3 said investing in infrastructure and preparing for the effects of climate change are high priorities. So presumably the budget will reflect some of those opinions. A little ad at the bottom, I'll mention Kinsman Court Assisted Living for Seniors. Of course, looking for residents. Suite available. Retire from cooking, it says. Book your tour today. And the other big news on page 2 by Owen Devereaux, Mazier picks Poilievre to lead the Tories. Dauphin Swan River Neepawa MP endorses the leadership candidate. Dan Mazier believes the Conservative Party of Canada's best days are ahead, and he believes Pierre Poilievre is the person to lead them there. Mazier, the Member of Parliament for Dauphin Swan River Neepawa riding, has officially endorsed Carleton MP Pierre Poilievre in the federal party's leadership race. Mazier did so by posting a picture on his social media platforms in which the two men are shaking hands. Along with the picture, there is a caption that reads, quote, Canada is in desperate need of real leadership. Pierre is a principled Canadian. a rarity in today's politics. I have no doubt that he will make an excellent Prime Minister. Our best days are ahead. The Neepawa Banner and Press contacted Masier regarding his choice for the party's next leader, and he said, quote, Pierre is a leader who will unite the country. He has integrity on all issues. He will stand for letting Canadians live their lives as they see fit and for more fairness. He has a modern view of Canada, and all the while he defers to the lessons of our history and learning from the past, the things that worked and those that didn't. End quote. Although Masier has known Poilievre for quite some time, he didn't make any official decision on the leadership race until after a recent meeting with him. Masier said that he wanted to hear Poilievre's perspective on governance. Quote, Pierre wants smaller government and lower taxes. He wants the province to be able to work together better, the provinces to be able to work together better, especially in healthcare. There are way too many gatekeepers to get through the bureaucracy on many projects and issues. In February, Aaron O'Toole was ousted by the Conservative Party as the Conservative Party leader, and Portage Lisgar MP Candace Bergen was appointed as the interim leader. Poilievre, a fiscal Conservative from Ontario, is currently one of 11 contenders for the Conservative Party of Canada leadership. The CPC leadership election will take place in September 2022. And I just note here, a little ad, the early deadline next week for the Banner and Press, with Good Friday coming up, I guess. The deadline for the April 15th issue is noon Monday. Okay, page 3. Big article here, the Manitoba Maple Syrup Festival back as an in-person event. And this is by Kira Patterson of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Picture here of Bob, I guess. It says tours of Bob's Sugar Bush, where maple sap is collected, is just one of the many highlights of the Manitoba Maple Syrup Festival in McCreary. It'd be from a year or two ago, maybe. After 1 year canceled and the next is only virtual, the Manitoba Maple Syrup Festival is back in full force for 2022. Scheduled for April 8 and 9 in McCreary, the festival is an annual chance to learn about the production of maple syrup and potentially get a taste of the sweet treat, among many other activities. We're excited to share the tastes and experiences of an authentic Manitoba Maple Syrup Festival this year, expressed organizer Pam Little. Quote, of course we want people to feel comfortable and safe too. We recommend following the basics of physical distancing, hand sanitizing, and wearing masks indoors or when in large gatherings. Most of the activities, however, are outdoors, and so that makes this a good festival to attend this year as we enter a less restricted era of COVID-19. Friday, April 8 kicks off the event with a drive-in movie night. They will be showing the animated movie Sing 2 at the McCreary Arena parking lot. Gates open along with the canteen at 7:30, with the movie starting at dusk. Before the main feature, enjoy learning about tapping maple trees from knowledge keeper Lewis Malcolm, Little added. The real action gets going on Saturday, April 9, with activities going on in several locations throughout McCreary. The community centre will host the farmers market from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., featuring maple syrup products as well as a wide variety of homemade and homegrown goods, both edible and otherwise. There will also be a lunch canteen there from until 2 p.m., and supper will be served at 5. An old-time dance will take place that evening at the community centre as well, with the Eldon Campbell Band playing and the Métis Club traditional dancers helping to lead some jigging and square dancing. One of the most maple-ish parts of the day will be based out of the McCreary Golf Club parking area. From there, people can take a horse and wagon ride out to Bob's Sugar Bush, where there will be guided tours through the bush where maple sap is collected, as well as bannock roasting over a fire. Downtown McCreary will also host a range of activities. Musical entertainment will be along Burroughs Road throughout the day, while a kids entertainer will be at the drop-in center performing at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Visitors will also get the chance to taste some delicious maple taffy on snow. outside of Reichek's Pharmacy or learn to tap a maple tree, with demonstrations going on at one of the trees along Burroughs Road. Finally, people will have a chance to learn how sap turns into syrup with a tour of Bob's maple syrup evaporator between 4 and 5. And that's at 457 Aileen Drive. Little noted that tickets can be purchased online or at the festival. She added, dress for the weather, be safe, and celebrate the little village designated as the maple syrup capital of Manitoba. McCreary welcomes you on April 8 and 9. Well, that's coming up soon, and it'd be a good thing to go out and do, I think. Just a couple of adverts on here besides the NACTV schedule. That's always on page 3 of the banner. Roxy Theatre showing Spider-Man this weekend, No Way Home. Strathclair Drama Club presents Mary Poppins, so they're getting back at it. April 18 to 23 at the Ben Theatre in Strathclair. I'll give you one phone number, 204-365-2436. There's a number of others as well. Tickets are $20 for the main floor and $15 for the balcony. And of course, Bigger Bingo for NACTV is advertised there. Wednesday night, the Bonanza pot is $13,000. The Blackout is $32.97, and the Toonie pot's just under $5,000. So, bingo players, get your cards for next week's bingo. Oh, here's the Tundra comic. I Love Tundra by Chad Carpenter. Let's see, there's a bunch of coyotes having a feast in the foreground and a bunch of deer or antelope up on the hill. It looks like the coyotes caught one of them. The little byline here says, if nature were run by committees. They were all over us before anyone could second the motion to flee, says one of the deer. If nature were run by committee. What's Ken got in his column today? I find it interesting how various topics seem to compete for the public's attention. For 2 years, the world was fixated on COVID-19. I guess that was appropriate, but C-19 would not have been nearly so serious if society and governments that allegedly speak for society had been more prepared. More prepared and taken action sooner. More prepared and not wasting their time on some actions as well. In last week's column, I called for an inquiry, and it needs to happen. When the top news story of the day is riding high, all other topics get shoved to the drawer. The past month's news cycle has been rightly consumed by Russia's highly illegal invasion of Ukraine. Again, it would not have been nearly so serious if society and the governments that allegedly speak for society had been more prepared. Everybody knew Russia was going to invade. If 200,000 troops and hundreds of tanks and trucks lined up on the border didn't give away the secret, then surely Russia's own words would have done it. If the UN, Ukraine, or NATO had blasted the first Russian tank to enter Ukraine off the face of the earth, then the war would not have gotten a foothold. Every war starts by somebody not standing up to the bully, the aggressor. The Western world knew it was coming. Even Canada has been spending the past 8 years training Ukrainian troops. The Western training of the Ukrainian army is one of the reasons the war has lasted this long. The Russians didn't believe the Ukrainian army would stand up as well as it has. The only mistake is that the Ukrainian army should have been even better prepared and acted sooner with Western allied countries backing them up. Borders should be sacred and treated as such. Early actions are needed in every war. Let's take a closer to home example. In Winnipeg in the early C-19 days, the infection showed up in a couple of care homes. Understaffed, underprepared, and maybe scared to admit they had a problem, a couple of care homes didn't take quick enough action, and they lost a lot of residents, dozens in fact. They were blasted in the media for calling in paramedics and ambulances. The problem wasn't that the care homes called in ambulances. The problem was that they should have called them in days earlier. When someone gets sick beyond the ability of a family to care for them, they call an ambulance. it should be no different at a care home. When they see a resident needs more care than can be provided in the home, they should call an ambulance, and sooner rather than later. It's a lot easier to win a battle than it is to win a war. If the battles are handled, the war will not even start. Maybe just like facing Putin. It's also interesting, dare I say amusing, that the federal government switched from talking about gun control to climate change, to COVID, to trucker protests, to the Ukraine war. Now that C-19 has settled down some and Canada has delivered all of its available ancient military resources to Ukraine, it's time to get back to the old standby issues. More coming now on climate change. In fact, in spite of that, Canada does almost nothing to harm the climate compared to China. Compared to all the tanks, fuel, and buildings that have been exploded in Ukraine, along with the occasional volcano. Canada and our current major party leadership are all alike on this issue. We fret about what Canada does to global warming, all the while Canada and the U.S. sell off their mining interests, including a coal mine in the U.S., to Chinese-backed companies. Isn't it also interesting that according to the Canadian government, it's a no-no to own guns, but it's okay to sell or give lethal weapons to Ukraine? Just wait, banning guns in Canada will be back soon enough. Then finally, there is the now famous NDP Liberal, in quotes, coalition government. Yeah, they don't call it a coalition, but Ken says it is in effect a coalition. If it holds, the Trudeau Liberals will be in power until 2025. Please note that all new announcements, such as daycare, are now being dubbed with a 2025 implementation date. That's not a coincidence. The Liberals are lining up as many things as they can to come together for 2025, so they can boast about all they've done in time for the next election. It's smart politics. This week's biggest irony is the fighter jet purchase announcement. Those same fighter jets that the Harper government wanted to buy and the Liberals canceled in 2015. Now those jets are the best thing since sliced bread. When it's a Liberal idea. Probably twice as expensive now, but that doesn't matter, as the Liberals can switch it from their to-do list to their look what we did list. Below are a couple of links to columns from readers that might find informative. The first one is to retired Manitoba Judge Brian Giesbrecht's columns, and some from the Winnipeg Sun. Of course, you just Google Brian Giesbrecht, and you'll get to those links, I think, or Winnipeg Sun, of course. What is Rita Friesen, Home Buddies column? People like to read this all the time. Rita says, one of the sage sayings reminds us to cherish each moment, for we never knew when we are seeing someone for the last time, or have the opportunity to say something for the last time. This month I acknowledged several last times, knowing it is indeed the last time. Did not lessen the sorrow. It was the last time I took a pet to the vet, the last time I washed the dog's beds and blankets, the last time I cleaned their food dishes, the last time I picked up poop in the backyard. With every last time came sorrow, yes, also thanksgiving for the joy and love the pups brought to our homes. They moved with me from the acreage, adjusted to town walks and a fenced backyard. They were constants with a changing array of family members living in and staying over. Henry Hoover and Miss Daisy, the names of the dogs, I believe, were the reasons I purchased a house rather than rent a place for my home. No regrets, just a great many last times. For 40 years and a day, I shared my life with Ed. He bought the property east of town without me seeing it. He loved every board and nail of that ancient home. Anything over 100 years of age can justifiably be termed ancient. After he received the diagnosis of cancer, he became awesomely aware of last times. There was the morning after a shower. He stood silent for a moment in the hall at the top of the stairs, one hand on the well-worn banister, eyes lingering over the view from the master bedroom, bay windows, and with a steady voice said goodbye. Goodbye to ever seeing the upstairs again. Goodbye from ever running his hand gently over the smooth railing. Acknowledging that with his human body he would never have the strength to climb those 13 stairs again. That was a heavy and sober last time. As the disease continued to consume his body and energy, there was the last time he sat at the table enjoying a shared meal, viewing his kingdom through the patio doors. There was the last time he made a trip out to his shed in a wheelchair, because it was important that he be present for the relinquishing of the last of the alternator and starter parts, and I'm sure there were lots of them. And there was the last time he chose to eat. We knew all these last times were last times, making each one more poignant and unforgettable. There was deep sorrow in saying all these goodbyes, executed with a strength and dignity that was difficult to watch, and oh so admirable. Last times. How different we would live each day with that awareness. How much more important to have our words be kind and gentle, our actions caring and supportive. In truth, none of us have any guarantee about our tomorrows. Most of us don't dwell on that until we face a health crisis. Doesn't change the reality. Have I yet mastered the art of living mindfully? Well, nope, says Rita. Thankfully, I have enough reminders all around me to continue to strive for that goal. Last time. Well, that's an excellent article, Rita. Thank you for writing it. Well, we'll continue on here. Page 4, Facing Life's Challenges, Part 5. This is Neil Stroshine's Faithfully Yours column. At the time, what Adam, not his real name, did seemed insignificant. Today, many years after his death, it remains an example for people in all areas of leadership to follow. Adam had been a pastor for many years, but he'd left paid accountable ministry to become a traveling evangelist, conducting revival meetings in smaller churches throughout Western Canada. That's what brought him to the community where I was living. He'd been invited by a neighboring church to conduct a 10-day crusade there. My church canceled weekly activities so we could attend the services. At each service, a love offering for Adam's personal support was collected. The total received was far more than Adam needed, or for that matter, wanted. So Adam asked that the funds be divided into 2 portions. The smaller one was to go to him. The larger was to be sent to an international missionary society to assist them in their work. The host church, of course, did as he asked. The issue was settled quietly, with dignity, integrity, without drawing undue attention to Adam or leaving the host church open to accusations of misappropriating funds. Another minister with similar views was the late Dr. E.V. Hill, pastor of Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church in Los Angeles. In a sermon he gave on one of the late Jerry Falwell's TV services, Hill said that in his church, quote, "No one is allowed to give me a Christmas gift." He went on to explain his reasons for the policy. If people want to give me a gift, he said, they can do it for my birthday. Christmas is Jesus' birthday. If I accept gifts on that birthday, that's double dipping. At Christmas, we give a special gift to Jesus. We take on offering for a special project that will help our community. People must wait until my birthday to give special gifts to me. That's not how it is with many high-profile social, political, and religious leaders. Stories of huge salaries, large homes, luxury cars, and other perks enjoyed by the rich and famous are as common today as they were when Robin Leach profiled them on his TV show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Many of these people have worked very hard to achieve the level of income that allows them to enjoy this lifestyle. They're entitled to enjoy the fruits of their labors, and I wish them many years of happiness doing so. But we hold politicians and preachers to a higher level of fiscal responsibility. Then we hold movie stars and business moguls. Politicians draw their salaries from money that has been taken from the people in the form of taxes and service fees. Preachers draw their salaries from money that has been donated by people who want to help the work done by a church, a home ministry, or a foreign ministry. Societies survive and thrive, especially amid the uncertainties caused by the pandemic and other world issues. Those who work in government or for charitable societies are entitled to a just and fair wage for the work they do, but they must be always alert and resist the urge to live extravagantly at the expense of a taxpayer or donor who pay their taxes or donate to a charity. Must use funds that would otherwise help pay for food, clothing, and shelter they desperately need. We who pay their salaries have every right to expect this standard of conduct from all of them. So true, Neil. Oh, the school photo mystery has been solved. This was in the paper last week. I'll hold it up there, of a school. The photo was from Wayne and Darlene Swisco's collection. It was sent to the Banner and Press by Will Smith in mid-March in hopes that some of our readers could help Smith identify the school pictured. Well, before we even had a chance to publish the photo, Smith contacted the Banner office again 3 days later, saying he had already identified the school in question. Apparently, it turns out that the picture is of Edna School in the Minnedosa area, the Edna School. No mention of any of the pupils or teachers. Maybe somebody else will write in, add to the ongoing saga of Edna School. Thumbs up, thumb down. We just have one. It's from Murray Antonuck in Plumas. And it's a thumbs up to the Banner and Press for publishing my letter in the March 11th edition. I've gotten good feedback from it so far. Well, thank you, Murray, for writing and initially, and for the thumbs up. And one other letter at the top of the page here by Hildegard Vickers from Waldersea. Hildegard Vickers writes, the headline's "More Canadian Fossil Fuels is not the answer." She says, I am very concerned about stories in our news media that state that more Canadian fossil fuels will help Europe break up with Russian oil. I seldom write letters to the editor, but this is one time I feel I must. The oil and gas industry and Conservative MPs push for expanding fossil fuels to Europe during this present crisis is misguided, dangerous, and immoral. More fossil fuel expansion guarantees more years of climate destruction that will harm us all. This isn't about peace or energy security, it's about profiteering from war. Not only would it take years to build the necessary infrastructure, but Europe doesn't want more fossil fuels. Germany has a plan to speed up renewable energy, wind and solar projects. The European Commission has released a plan to increase renewable energy and energy efficiency. The International Energy Agency has an expansive plan to reduce Europe's reliance on Russian gas with renewable energy. Energy security is not possible without a transition away from fossil fuels. We could and should put Canadians to work with good jobs in the renewable energy sector, both here and abroad. And it's signed by Hildegard Vickers of Waldersea. And I know there's an item later on in the paper, because I've read it ahead of time, that is talking about a conference coming up on those issues exactly. So if they interest you, stick around, listen when I get to that article. It's not on these pages. I'll maybe take a short break, wet the whistle here. Oh, what's Helen Drysdale doing this week? Out of Helen's Kitchen, road building in Manitoba. Helen always has a good article as well as a good recipe. You might have to go online to get the recipe. But anyway, the article. There's a picture here of horses, looks like at least 4, maybe 6 team, a road crew in the Brookdale area, it says. There's 3 gentlemen on the little wagon there, whatever they're doing. The article says, our first roads in Manitoba were the trails used by the Indigenous people. So they came the rutted trails of the Red River carts with their fur trade. Many new trails were created to connect major trading posts or forts of the Northwest Mounted Police. Soon, formal trails used for horse-driven wagons emerged during European settlement. Bridges and ferries were built to provide shortcuts through the rivers. In 1870, when the province of Manitoba was created, there were 700 miles of trails within the province. The building of the railway opened up the country to allow more and faster transportation. Roads were mainly used for local transportation, linking settlers with their nearest town and grain handling facilities. These dirt roads the farmers traveled on to get their grain to an elevator were often mired in mud and quite impassable during parts of the year. particularly spring, I think. If conditions were good, most farmers could travel 10 miles round trip in a day with their horses and wagon to load, haul their grain, pick up supplies, and return home in time to do chores. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, most road building and maintenance was done by horse-drawn equipment, like that in the picture. After the spring seeding, farmers and their horses were free for a time, so they often joined the road construction crews. By horsepower and hand power, shovels and men worked hard at maintaining the old roads, putting in culverts and bridges, and building new roads. One old-timer who worked road construction as a young man told me about the mules they used in the road work. As soon as 12 noon came, the mules, I assume she means, they knew it was break time, and even if the men had a few minutes work left before lunch, the mules stopped their work and headed to the place where their hay and water was. They had an indoor clock. As cars became more popular and plentiful, good roads associations led to the crusade for improved road travel, and expenditures on roads by all levels of governments tripled. Technology for building roads improved as horse-drawn scrapers and graders gave way to steam and gas-powered crawlers, graders, and rollers. In December 1949, Prime Minister Louis Saint Laurent passed the Trans-Canada Highway Act to build a highway from coast to coast. So that was in 1949. Didn't know that. This project took many more years to complete than the railway. In 1962, Prime Minister John Diefenbaker officially opened the Trans-Canada Highway. Well, that is quite a time. That's 13, if my subtraction's right, 13 years. Her recipes for a date orange cake. You'll have to maybe check that out if you can. It'll be online on the banner, I'm sure, there as well, but we'll maybe move on here. A lot of other things to get to today. Recreation is in the forefront of the paper this week, for sure. Recreation update for Carberry. This is from Gladwin Scott. I always appreciate what Gladwin has going. Just see here. Okay, the number of pictures here. I'll read the names off the pictures, I think, because people like to know who's in the paper. Carberry's beginner synchro team. Back row, I apologize for any errors I have in mispronunciation, but I'll do my best. In the back row is Safi Gaudet, Briar Wenwick. In the front row, Caitlin Burt, Macy Eli, Brooke Fraser, Kinley Smart, Brady Eli, and Riley Eli. Above right is the Carberry Figure Skating Club senior skaters, Ella Baker, Chloe Nishaw, and Kelly Barron. Nice pictures, girls. And above, on the right-hand side of the page, Bonspiel Pictures, Legion Bonspiel, A-side champions. Presented the FOCO Burma presented the trophies. The award to Evan Reynolds, Kim Reynolds, Terry Pulak, and Deanna Pulak. In the second picture, B-side champions were Troy Graham, Greg Chandler, Justin Adrianson, and Corey Martin. And the C-side champions were Warren Birch, Becky Birch, Leonard Birch, and Linda Birch. Well, a whole team of Birches. Good for them. Well, there is one other picture here in the middle. The junior curling program participants. The back row, Pam Robbins, the instructor, Lily Carlson, Danica Elmhurst, Aurora Elmhurst, Elisa Bobier, Caden Anderson, Rihanna McMillan, Evan Reynolds, Esme Campbell. Middle row, Isabella McCutcheon, Russell Kamakovich, I think that's right, Hayden Reynolds, Barrett Bobier, Lucas Bagansky, Abby Snowden, Abigail Reynolds, Gemma McLeod, and at the front is Sydney Shepard. So congratulations to the winners and the participants and all those things there. Busy week in Carberry. I slipped to the end of the, there's men's curling. Trevor Calvert's foursome topped the men's curling league. And in the women's league, Alyssa Calvert's team were club champs, with Betty Burma's squad winning the A side of the playoffs and Janelle Mann's winning the B side. Skip Terry Ursel and her rank of Wanda Ranke, Brenda Walker, Tracy Ignonia, and fifth Darla Hankey, who participated in the 2022 Manitoba Scotties in Carberry, December 15 to 19, won their fourth Manitoba Senior Women's Curling Championship, March the 21st in Beausejour, and qualified for the Nationals December 5 to 10. Well, congratulations to the Terry Ursel rank. Plans are being finalized for the Sportsman's Gala, Thursday, April 14th, with special guests comedian Big Daddy Taz and Chris Walby, Blue Bombers Hall of Famer. So that's what's going on in Carberry. Gladwin also writes about the hockey here. The Raiders down the GCB Wildcats. The Killarney Wamanisa Raiders won the 18-team Westman High School Hockey League pennant and recently captured the provincial AA hockey crown in Russell. They defeated the GCB Wildcats 4-2 and 7-2 to advance to the league finals. In the Shamrock Centre Sunday, March the 20th, the hosts started quickly with a goal in the early seconds and were ahead 3-0 after 20 minutes. It was 4-2 at the end of two periods, and the final frame was scoreless. Trey Dixon and Kaylin Waldner dented the twine twice for the Wildcats. For the Raiders were Kyle O'Connor, Josh Ashambo, and Logan Gwinison with a pair. In Glenborough, Monday, March the 21st, the Wildcats scored the only goal of the first frame and outshot the Raiders 12-5. However, it was a 4-2 for the visitors after the second period, and they added three more in the final 8 minutes of the match. Captain Deegan Campbell, assisted by Johnny Mayers and Trey Dickinson, with help from Jaron Waldner and Myers, scored for the GCB squad. The Raiders got goals from Logan Gwinison, Parker Mayo, Josh Archambault, Kyle O'Connor, Dylan Brown, and Russell Uthwaite with two. The Raiders then went off to meet the Major Tratt Russell Trojans in a one-game winner-take-all final, due to the fact that a number of the Major Pratt players are leaving on a school trip, so the team couldn't commit to a three-game series. Well, good for the opposition for agreeing to that. How it happened now. Wednesday, March 23 in Killarney. With Killarney up 3-1 after two periods, the Trojans were able to tie things up in the third period to send the game to overtime. Wow. In overtime, the Trojans scored the winning goal to win the game 4-3 and win the league championship. This marked the end of a successful season for the Wildcats, who reached the semifinals of the 18-team Westman League and helped head coach Corey Forbes celebrate his 800th game with the Twin. 800 games with the team. Well, congratulations and thank you to Corey Forbes. And thanks, Ledwin, for all the information. How we doing? Well, there's an here's an advert about the Maple Syrup Festival. Friday, April 8th, the drive-in movie that we mentioned. Saturday, April the 9th. Okay, we've got some prices here. Children 5 and under are free. It's $20 per person. I guess that's an entry with a wristband probably for the whole thing. $45 for a family. And youth, it's under 18, so that'd be age 6 to 17, is $10. Or, of course, could be included with the family. So check that out, April 8 and 9, Friday and Saturday up at McCreary. The library here in Neepawa has some events happening. All events and programs at the library are free. Story time for preschool ages. Call to register and information. Canadian National Film Day is on Wednesday, April the 20th at 2 p.m. and the film is The Grizzlies. Author series with Gayleen Duchishin, entitled A Strange Kind of Comfort, is on Wednesday, April 27th at 5:30 p.m. I assume she's speaking there, but you could phone the library for more information. And on April 9, sorry, page 9, what am I talking about? On page 9, we have some bird's eye pictures of the bridge construction, with thanks to John Luigi Pido. He supplies a number of pictures both for the Banner and NACTV with his drones around town. He has 3 snapshots here of the bridge building over there at Park Lake. Also, if you check out News and Views coming up in the very near future, we got a couple of minutes of video down there as well, close up from the ground. So watch for that. Okay, scams on the rise. Here's an article by Casper Warehan of the Banner and Press staff. The Neepawa Banner and Press received a report regarding a new scam on March 25th. Well, there's always a new scam, isn't there? This scam in question was via a phone call in which the caller claims to be working with Amazon. The caller also states that they wish to give you a refund. Well, of course. The Neepawa detachment of the Spruce Plains RCMP was contacted regarding this development, to which Staff Sergeant Colby Argue urged the public to be ever vigilant. Quote, "There has certainly been an increase in scam calls, and there are pretty significant amounts of money that can be lost to them," said Argue. "Scammers will call, text, or email claiming to be from one organization or another. It changes up fairly frequently. A common one right now, with it being tax season, are scams with people claiming to be from Revenue Canada, CRA. He added, "Some scammers will try to appear as if they're calling from an RCMP detachment. In that case, or if you are unsure, it's best to hang up and look up the detachment's phone number to check it out. Do not hesitate to call us," that's the detachment, "to verify whether or not we were calling you." The staff sergeant also urged individuals to verify the phone numbers of other calls as well, and to be cautious when interacting with emails or texts, which may be used for scamming purposes as well. Extra caution should also be taken if any links are involved. Don't click on a link. To assist with keeping up to date on potential scams, Argue recommended the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. I didn't know this. The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre has services and information such as lists of known scams, which can be sorted alphabetically by delivery method or whether it's affecting individuals, businesses. Further details on how you can protect yourself with more information on fraud features and how to report a scam or fraud. Scams and frauds can be reported to the Anti-Fraud Centre either online through their website or by calling their toll-free number. Now this is important, folks, so I'll slowly give you the number. 1-888-495-8501. And that's business hours, Monday to Friday, Eastern Time. I'll give you that 1-888-495-8501. That's the toll-free number of the Anti-Fraud Centre. You can Google them and find out through online services as well. In addition to reporting scams to the Anti-Fraud Centre, it's also very important to report them to your local RCMP attachment. Please do reach out to us and report these incidents. To make a report to the Neepawa branch of the Spruce Plains RCMP, call the non-emergency line 204-476-7340. As of February 28th, the Anti-Fraud Centre has received 12,252 reports of fraud, to which 7,922 were victims, and a total of $75 million lost. Now that says up to February 28th. If that's during this year, that's only 2 months. I don't know that for sure. But 75 million is a large number regardless. These numbers do not include COVID-19 related fraud, which is being tabulated separately. So yes, there are a lot of fraudsters out there. Okay, well, to the middle section. We're halfway through, I guess, here. WMCI raises $2,000 for Ukraine humanitarian aid. WMCI is the high school collegiate in Gladstone. This is by Kira Patterson. She says, students and staff at William Morton Collegiate in Gladstone have been putting in some extra efforts at school lately. Through a donation drive, bake sales, and fundraising breakfast, the high school has raised over $2,800, wow, to donate to the Canadian Red Cross Ukraine Humanitarian Crisis Appeal in just a week and a half. Well, that's wonderful, high school students. Teresa Morrison Myers is a grade 8 teacher at WMCI, who'd been heading up much of the efforts. It's all started with WMCI's head custodian, Leslie Owen, apparently. She approached me about doing something for Ukraine. We brainstormed and came up with a few fundraising ideas, Morrison Myers explained. I then approached my grade 8 class and asked them if they would like to help. They were all on board. She noted that the class made up blue and yellow ribbons to give to any donors. Leslie Owen, along with Scarlett Watson, the daughter of one of WMCI's teachers, made cookies and sold them. The school also held a sausage and pancake breakfast, with the co-op food store giving them a discount on the food to allow even more funds to go directly to the cause. As well, Leslie Owen ran some fundraising at our local Legion in Gladstone. They were very generous and happy to help. Well, it looks like these kids were really out hustling, getting everybody involved in Gladstone. Wonderful. That's me saying that, not the paper. Where was I? The Legion brought in $465 in that little project. Helping them pass the $2,000 mark was WMCI principal Gary Strick, as he pledged to match whatever the school raised. Oh, well, that got the kids going, I'm sure. In total, $1,174.50 was raised by the school's efforts, so Strick donated that same amount. Well, thank you very much, Principal Gary Strick. Quote, we're also very thankful for everyone's donations and help for such a worthy cause, expressed Morrison Myers. Well, that's great. Here's the conference I was mentioning. It's on page 11. The article's by Casper Warehand. It's called MANSEA, sets date for annual conference. The Manitoba Sustainable Energy Association, that's MAN, SEA, is getting right down to business on April the 6th. Well, that's this coming week. On that day, the organization will be holding its first in-person sustainable energy conference after going virtually the past 2 years. The conference, entitled On the Road to Net Zero by 2050, will be held at the William Gillespie Center in Portage-la-Prairie at 9 a.m. It's expected to conclude around 4. For those unfamiliar, MANSEA President Randy Baldwin noted that the group's mission is the promotion of sustainable development of the province's renewable energy resources. For the group, that means it must be environmentally, financially, and socially sustainable. Quote, we believe that long-term prosperity and quality of life will be possible only if we transition from non-renewable to renewable energy throughout Manitoba, Baldwin explained further. Fortunately, he says, this change will create many significant economic development opportunities across Manitoba. And he added, for example, a decentralized energy production system where we don't have to rely on all the power coming from huge dams in northern Manitoba. We could generate a significant amount of our own power and use it locally, whether it be solar panels on community centers to power the community center or sports center and nearby buildings, and there's very good opportunities to use geothermal power sources to maintain ice rinks and capture heat from the cooling of the ice and keep waiting rooms in the sports facility and nearby buildings warm. Lots of opportunity, says the president of MANSEA. The article goes on to say, while solar and geothermal have the best potential in the short term, Baldwin said he noted that biomass energy is also available to be harnessed. At the conference, some examples of biomass usage for grain drying, heating livestock facilities, and more will be on display. Quote, grain drying in particular has become a significant cost over recent years, especially for those who are growing corn, Baldwin added. So this is in Portage la Prairie on April the 6th. If you're interested, you should find out about it. As an organization, ManC has recognized a considerable interest being taken in sustainable energy in the province this year, such as increased news coverage regarding the impacts of climate change. In accordance with this observation, the 2022 annual conference is focusing on strategies for using sustainable energy to reduce carbon emissions and energy costs as carbon taxes make fossil fuels increasingly expensive. We're on the cusp, he says, of a bunch of new technology coming along. We've had solar, wind, and biomass energy for some time, but with the emphasis on energy efficiency and with the carbon tax, there is renewed interest both in the benefit of the planet and people's wallets to look at ways of reducing their use of fossil fuels, Baldwin elaborated. So it's very good timing for the kinds of sessions we'll be doing here. They have a number of confirmed presenters, it goes on to say, which include Kurt Hill, Pieng, who has a consulting practice in sustainability and is project director of Climate Change Connection in Winnipeg. Dr. Eric L. Babo, Pieng, an associate professor at U of M, Faculty of Engineering. Randy Weber, Doug Barker, Jack Winram, executive director of Manitoba Environment Industries Association, MIA. And Michael Stokey, Vice President, Efficiency Programs at Efficiency Manitoba. So that's quite a bit going on. I'll maybe just skip to the end. Anyone wishing to attend and or become a member are asked to visit the ManC website. It's very simple, www.manc.org, or if you Google it, manc.org, MANSEA.org. Pre-registration is recommended but not required, so you can show up. Attendees can also register on location starting 8:30 the day of conference. Well, I hope a few people that didn't know about it learn about it through the paper and attend. We got Gladstone's Open Bonspiel winners listed here. I'll just quickly read some names. Jason Otto of the Gladstone Curling Club presents. To Jeff Trimble, skip, Ken Otto third, Terry Buechler second, and Wilmot Milne lead, who won first event. And also presentation to Morley Walker, skip, Ryland Denbo third, Sam Kont second, and Dean Rosling lead. That would be second prize, and third prize, third event. To Neil Turner, skip, Kayla Hunter, Sonova Asseltine, and Brent Hunter. And pictures of everybody smiling here. Gladstone. Nice to have some Bonspiel winners this year. Oh, good heavens. The Westburn Curling Club. Well, who won here? Open Curling Bonspiel, March the 18 to 20. Great success. A huge thank you goes out to the planning committee, volunteers, curlers, and spectators who came out for the weekend to enjoy all the festivities. Lots of laughs were had and memories made, from the great food to the costume contest. Well, the pictures don't have the costume. Too bad they didn't send us a picture of the costume contest winner. Maybe somebody will. Winners of the Bonspiel were as follows. Southpaw Ag Services first event winners: Skip Caitlin Davey, Chaz Lambert, Jason Cook, and Paula Kalida. Richardson Pioneer second event winners were Skip Joe Leslie, Sylvia Huber, Craig Manns, and David Huber. And the Sure Grow Farm Services third event winners were Skip Dale Brown, Tim Davey, Kyle Duchak, and Wade Duchak. And I apologize if I mispronounced any names. Hey, look at all the smiles. Everybody's smiling in those pictures. Okay, on to hockey. Well, maybe before, I'll just mention there's an advert on page 13. The annual general meeting of the members of the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op Limited. Excuse me. So if you're interested, I think that, yes, it says will be held virtually by WebEx. Meeting, it's on Wednesday, April the 13th at 7 p.m. So if you're interested, you need to register, I would think. Yes, pre-register by calling the admin office at 204-476 in Neepawa, 2328. That's the admin number for the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op, 2328, to attend the meeting Wednesday night, April 13th. Okay, what's the story here? Oh, we're into the THHL final. Minnedosa Trail Boissevain in the final. This is by Owen Devereaux. The Minnedosa Bombers have done everything they can to compete with the Boissevain Border Kings in the Tiger Hills Hockey League's final. Unfortunately for Minnedosa, Boissevain's potent lineup has proved to be just too much to handle in the first 2 games of the best-of-5 championship. In Game 1, the Border Kings picked up a dominant 12-0 win, shutout. Devin LeBlanc, who played several seasons in the Western Hockey League, scored 4 goals on the night, and former MJHL standout Zenon Zimmer also collected 4 points, though his came in the form of a pair of goals and assists. Other notable contributors included Jeremy Johnson, 2 and 1, Tyler Dittmar, 3 assists, and Bailey Robertson, a goal assist. For Game 2 in Minnedosa, the Bombers were able to curtail, to a degree, the Boissevain offensive onslaught, but were still bested 4-1. The Border Kings scored the first 4 goals of the night before Minnedosa's own Ryan Heino scored 1 for the Bombers. The third game of the series was played on Wednesday, March the 30th. That would be last night, as I'm reading the paper. I had to think about that. In Boissevain, the results were official after the banner and press publication deadline and will appear in next week's paper. So, most of you, if you're interested, probably already know who won the game and whether there's a 4th game or not. But anyway, congratulations both to Boissevain and Minnedosa for reaching the final. Great hockey this year by those teams in the THHL. And the Neepawa Titans. They hosted their spring prospects camp this weekend. Picture here of the boys on ice. A veteran player with the Neepawa Titans Hockey Club walks the players through a play during the spring prospects camp held at the Yellow Center on March 25-26. I was up there and did some videoing, and I was told that the Titans of the present club, or some past Titans, I guess, were the coaches and instructors for the camp. Coach Kenny, of course, was there. Anyway, what does Owen Devereaux have to report? A talented crop of players hit the ice last weekend for the Neepawa Titans' annual Spring Prospects Camp. The event was held at the Yellowhead Arena March 25 and 26 and featured a combination of draft-eligible players, members of the club's protected list, and several walk-ons, hoping to make a lasting impression. This was the first opportunity in just over 2 years for the Titans' coaching and scouting staff to get an up-close view of the level of talent that's been assembled by the organization. Head coach, general manager Ken Pearson said it was great to be able to evaluate the players this way once again. Quote, "So far, the prospects camp has been good. We have close to 70 kids out here. Everyone went through a practice session and then played games on Friday and Saturday. After that, we'll give the players a little bit of feedback," stated Pearson. Quote, "So we've had a good turnout and we're real happy with what we've seen here at camp." Pearson indicated that while the camp featured players anywhere from 14 to 17 years of age, extra focus was placed on examining the skill sets of the year 206 prospects. Those are the kind of players we're really zeroing in on, as they will be the ones that will be in the MJHL draft this year. So those are kind of the players that we'll be watching maybe a little bit closer, Pearson said. He went on to say there's a fair number that have come to this camp, and it's a first time for them at a junior camp. So it's exciting to see them walk in and kind of get their eyes opened up a little bit. But I think it's all about getting the exposure and experience of being a junior at the junior camp. As for what he saw out there from the players, Pearson said he was impressed by the intensity being exhibited. The one thing that really stood out, the 14 and 15-year-olds are big and they're fast. And you know they're really pushing the pace. That's something the coaching and scouting staff really liked. It's been really exciting to see the kids come in and push each other to a higher level of play, said Pearson. Though the spring prospects camp has come to a close, things will remain very hectic for the hockey club over the next few weeks as they go through their notes and make a few decisions on who they'd like to get another look at. Pearson said preparations are also ongoing for the upcoming MJHL draft. And as I said, I was up there on Saturday morning and did about a half-hour video, organized. Well, they showed me 15 minutes, thank you. Speaking to the office there, the time left we have, sorry, that I interviewed half a dozen parents, and they were really pleased with the camp too. Some of them were parents of boys that really were 14 and 15-year-olds and were really enjoying the camp. So watch the paper or the TV station for the upcoming video of the Titans camp. The classifieds we get in here too, I'm not going to go into them, but say I noticed there's a big thank you here on the bottom. I don't know if you can get in the camera or not. Right on the bottom, it's from Team Ursula. And thank you from Terry Ursula, Wanda Ranke, Brenda Walker, and Tracy Agonia. And the thank you sponsored their support. Let's see, I better read it. Team Ursula is excited to have reached our goals of winning the senior women's provincials and competing at the Manitoba Provincial Scotties this season. We've had much help and a few different players to accomplish this. Thank you to Kayla Hunter for playing when we needed you. Thank you to Chris Hamblin for curling in the Scotties with us, and Lauren Hamblin for coaching. It was so much fun. A huge thank you to Darla Hankey for joining us as fifth at the recently held Senior Women's Provincial Championships. You were a great addition to our team. We are very thankful for our amazing family and friends that continue to support our team. We are grateful for our coaches and mentors that continue to help us become a better team. Our team is very excited to head to the Canadian Senior Women's Nationals in December 2022. And all of the Westman area community here is excited about that as well, and wish them well in that. And they thank their amazing supportive sponsors for sticking with us and helping to make this possible. And they are Stella Jones, Inc., Larson Memorials, Rosie's Pizza, Cargill Training Center Morris, High Life Foods, Sunrise Credit Union, Allen Acres, AgWest Equipment, Turco Fertilizers, and MCE. A good picture of the gals there smiling with the Manitoba crests they're holding. Okay. Oh, there's a 90th birthday for Ken Rogers. Congratulations, Ken. And I believe it is tomorrow, April Fool's Day. Oh, Ken always mentioned he was a bit of an April Fool. Anyway, he's having a come and go tea, or his family is for him, on Sunday, April 3rd, 2 to 4 Arts Forward. No gifts, please. So, you know Ken, go wish him a happy birthday. Well, what do we got here? Nothing too much. Sunrise Credit Union notice of meeting. When's their annual meeting? Monday, April the 18th. Call to pre-register. 204-726-3636. There. You gotta hook up for the Zoom video conference for the Sunrise Credit Union. Okay. Okay, a couple articles here and we'll be done. Minnedosa's Caitlin Stephenson signs with ACC. Good picture there of Caitlin, Minnedosa collegiate graduate for the soccer program at ACC. This is submitted. Caitlin Stephenson becomes the latest talent added to the Cougars women's soccer 2022-23 roster. Stephenson is a 5'9" defender from Minnedosa, Manitoba. She has a passion for two things: soccer and the great outdoors. Hunting, fishing, camping are some of her favorite pastimes. Stephenson attended Minnedosa Collegiate, where she was an honor roll student and competed for the Chancellors. She received Athlete of the Year award in elementary school, but didn't get a chance to compete for the Chancellors in her final year of high school due to the pandemic. Well, yes, Caitlin, you and a lot of others. It's very unfortunate. However, she's going on. This also meant Minnedosa didn't award an Athlete of the Year, I guess, that year. Quote, "I've got a strong and well-directed kick. For all my teams, I would be the designated free kicker, goal kicker, or most often penalty kicker," recalls Stephenson. Quote, I'm excited about being part of not only a soccer team again, but a community of people who love the same sport and are all trying to work towards the same goal. Co-coach Jerry Rocan said, Caitlin is a talented and gifted player that anticipates the ball and effectively positions herself on the field. She is dangerous in transition, can hit the net from 35 yards away, and she makes pinpoint passes with ease. She will make a great addition to the roster. Turning her love of the outdoors into a career, Stephenson will be taking the college's land and water management program in the fall. My dream is to be able to make a difference within the environment, said Stephenson. I want to learn all about it and how it makes the world go round. Well, that's good. And the Neepawa 4-H Beef Club update. This is by Svina Bjarnason. Neepawa Area 4-H Beef Club has had a few activities pop up since January. In the middle of January, Tim Baker let us use his shop to make halters. The club leaders decided to get the members to tell them what kind of pizza they liked to order their own individual pizza. The pizzas came from the Gladstone bakery. Everybody had to wear a mask and socially distance. They could only take their mask off if they were eating and drinking, of course. On February the 6th, at 1 p.m., we held public speaking at the Neepawa curling rink. Only parents of the members were allowed to watch. Everyone was to always have their mask on unless they were speaking. All the members did well. Public speaking night results. Okay, Cloverbud speeches. That must be the young ones. First place, Sadie Sawchuk. Second place, Cooper Jury. Junior category, first was Summer Sawchuk and second was Avery Jury. Intermediate, first Quinn Sawchuk, second Keegan Dyke. Senior speeches, first place Shelby Defoe, second was a tie, Madison Robertson, Carson Baker, and the third place was awarded to Ashley Dyke. Oh, they had Junior 1 Personal Vision, first place Morgan Dyke. Intermediate, first place Svina Bjarnason, and Senior 1 Person Visual, first place Eric Schultz. First place winners were able to move on to Area. On March the 26th, Area 4-H speeches were held on Zoom. They only announced the top 2 speakers for each category there. And everyone that placed first has the option to move on to provincials. So those area results, junior speech, second was Sadie Sawchuk. Intermediate was Quinn Sawchuk. Senior second was Shelby Defoe. I misunderstood the first place winners. Anyway, intermediate 1 person visual. First was Svina Bjarnason, and I guess those are just local people we have the names of. Provincials are April 30th in Winnipeg. Our next meeting will be April 23rd at the fairgrounds in Neepawa for Crash Day. What the heck is Crash Day? Members are encouraged to bring their project animals. There will be judging, showmanship, and grooming workshops. Members will have hands-on experience to improve their skills. So whatever it is, it's Crash Day, April 23rd at the fairgrounds here in Neepawa. And just lastly, there's some pictures here, if you can zoom in perhaps, of the Winter Park as well used this year. Despite the excessive snow and cold, 45 youth with their parents were involved in the Jackrabbit Ski Club each Sunday afternoon. 3 youth, Garnet, Kylie, and Braden, earned a 50-kilometer ski pin for skiing over that distance during the winter. 2 learned to ski clinics and a skate ski clinic. That's a tongue twister. Skate ski clinic were conducted. People traveled from many areas, Brandon, Portage, Carberry, to use the toboggan hill, ski trails, snowshoe trails, or walking trails. 4 schools from outside our local division used the facilities. Manitobans are currently a hardy group. Yeah, certainly are if you're out in the winter doing all that this year. Children enjoying the off-trail activities in the top left picture, the top right. The club did a mystery tour at the trail and partway through found a place to roast marshmallows. On the left picture, some of the individuals who participated in the Learn to Ski for Newcomers. And the bottom left, some eager tobogganers gather at the top of the hill. Well, thank you for those submitted photos and the submitted information about the use of the Winter Park and the Jackrabbit Ski Club. And lastly, on the back page, which is the High Life page that sponsor it, the Roxley Theatre is looking for volunteers. catch a show. Each show is staffed by a captain and a group of volunteers. The captain is the main point of contact between the volunteer coordinator and the team of 5 or 6 people working the show. The volunteer group can be put together by the captain, such as friends and family, or we can help put the team together from a list of interested volunteers. And you can sign up for one night, a weekend, multiple nights. It's very flexible. Used to be you were on a team and your team came up, it was that weekend. They've started to try to be more flexible so that people would be able to volunteer more. And great picture of the old Opera House and the new Roxy Theatre catching on the side there. So thanks High Life for the advert there, and if you're interested in volunteering for the Roxy, let's see, the phone number is 476-3716. And leave a message. That's the number at the theatre, so it would only be on message unless there was a show on. Okay, well, hopefully you enjoyed the paper this week. Lots in it, and I've enjoyed reading it. Thank you very much. My name's Dave Bennet.